Good day, everybody. Welcome to today's video. In today's video, in my 2003 Jeep TJ, I'm doing an LS Vortex swap. I'm going to be hooking up the torque converter lockup. And on the Jeep, the first thing you want to do is find out what wire you want to use. Now, with the wiring schematic here, with the brake lamp switch, the wire I'm going to be looking for and tying into is the white and pink wire. That is my brake control wire. Now, of course, I went and found this wire earlier, and it will not be a direct hookup. It has to work a certain way, and I'm going to explain that to you right now. Now, first off, with this project, I'm using a completely waterproof relay assembly because I don't want to have any issues because this could ruin your transmission. So, to put it simple that everybody can understand it, ground is going to go on pin 86. 12-volt ignition power is going to go on 87A. 12 volts when the brake is pressed is going to go on pin 85, and then number 30 is going to go to the TCC brake on my LS wiring harness. So at all times when the ignition is on, pin 30 has to see 12 volts until braking, and then it's open, which means 0 volts. This is very important. Before we get started, I'm just going to verify this wire with my power probe to indeed that it only has 12 volts when the brake is pressed. Perhaps with the ignition on. Yeah, 12 volts with the ignition on, just as I thought. So as a disclaimer, don't follow the colored wires. Make sure you follow the pinout on the relay. So 87A is the first wire I'm going to run. That's the 12-volt power ignition on, and that's going to be the yellow connector. Now for the ignition on source, you just got to tie into whatever power source you want. In my case, I'm using a Deutsch connector and going to use a red wire. Now, to be sure that I don't make any kind of mistakes, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist the wires together, put some tape on them so that they don't short out or touch each other. And this is how I'm going to go through my testing procedure. And then once everything is hooked up and verified that it works, then I'm going to solder all the connections and then it'll be done. So ground will be on 86. That'll be the white wire. That's my generic ground right there that I'm just going to connect down there. Now just taping the ground down to the white wire, and then we got 2 more connections left. So now when the brake is pressed, must go on pin 85, and that's the black one. Now if you're doing this on a Jeep TJ similar to mine, if you're keeping part of your factory wiring harness, you do not have to go this route. This is the road I went. So that brake sense wire, I cut it, and what I did is I soldered a Y into it so it still does go to the PCM, which I probably didn't have to, but I just kind of kept everything intact, and I'm just soldering everything together, and then once it's done, I'm going to heat shrink it and then connect it to my relay. Well, that's the final connection. That's going to go for the relay, except for pin 30, which is going to go to the torque converter on the LS harness, so let's do some testing. Now, pin 30 is for the torque converter lockup, and that's the red wire. So now, with everything hooked up right, when I turn the ignition on, it'll be 12 volts power all time. Now, let's see if this is going to work. So there we have it, 12 volts. Now, when I press the brake, voltage should drop off, and I can tell right now it stopped. Release, 12 volts, brake, we're good. So now if you want my personal advice so you don't screw it up, do 1 wire at a time. Solder them or do whatever kind of connection you want. Now that I verified it, I am just going to solder everything together. Now, of course, if you guys haven't noticed, I love to use the Deutsch style connections. And now that I got the final assembly done, let's do one last test. Stay on there. All right. The audible signal will tell me. Power on. Braking power. Yeah. We are good. Now that everything's done, verified, tested, it's time to plug it into the LS harness, and we're done with it. Now the harness that I used for my swap is from Current Performance, and all your labels are laid out for you, so it's pretty hard for you to screw it up and plug it into the wrong thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this short video. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I want to thank you guys for watching. Follow me along on my LS Vortex swap. I'll see you guys in the next video.